Greetings after the interweb, I'm PowerX11, review of the good, the bad and the underrated. Continuing my look back on the MCU, we come to what's probably the black sheep of this franchise. Ha 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 ha. Ah! No, I'm talking about The Incredible Hulk. This is a film I hadn't even watched before I decided to do these reviews since, thanks to the weird rights issues between Disney and Universal, I was one of the people who wondered if this film was canon to the MCU. Also, man, Marvel's deadliest villain besides Thanos has rights issues. Because of said problems, none of the characters minus Banner, and none of the actors returned in other films, besides William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross in Civil War and Infinity War very recently, and Hulk isn't allowed to appear in a solo film. But despite this film's dubious canonicity, is it still worth a watch? Yeah, I guess. Kinda. Well, anyway, let's gamma up and rage out before the lawyers come for us, and take a look at The Incredible Hulk. This film starts
with science, of course!
We see Edward Norton's Bruce Banner taking part in military experiments to recreate a super soldier serum using gamma radiation. It goes better than you'd expect, considering even people in universe acknowledge
that much gamma exposure should have killed you.
This is a decent way of summarising Hulk's origin, his accident, relationship to Betty, played by Liv Tyler, and rivalry with General Ross forcing him to go on the run, considering at the time he was probably the most popular character Marvel had the film rights to, and the 2003 film was probably still fresh in people's minds. At least the few people who actually saw the 2003 Hulk. We then see Banner end up in some Brazilian slums, because a guy not wanting to hurt people would go to a densely populated area. In my opinion, Norton's a pretty solid Banner. He seems like a well-meaning guy, but just on the verge of losing control and being very hesitant to get back into the world. That said, there are a couple of times where he seems more phoning it in than in a calm, which is why I'd give Ruffalo the edge. But he's not bad, and it's a shame he never got to reprise the role again. Whoa. That guy might just be the most badass character in the MCU. We see Bruce working in a factory, nice stress-free environment, bottling soft drinks. Then again, he probably didn't have much choice, so I'll cut him some slack there. How incredibly convenient! Mountain Dew, now with a fresh taste of gamma radiation to blow your taste buds away, along with about 4 blocks. Some random hot chick is being hit on by a bully because nothing tests someone's patience more than a cockfight.
Não me deixe conforme. ¿Qué? Não van quando eu come. Oh, wait. That's not right.
His Portuguese is about as good as my French. Banner then goes home to message someone called Mr. Blue to help him get rid of his powers. Ooh, ask him why he had to hide away for so long. It is an interesting concept to have what's basically an origin film be about the main hero trying to get rid of his powers rather than acclimatise himself to them. Bruce has already seen the Hulk's destructive power and wants nothing to do with it.
Hulk shall smash puny cure.
Meanwhile, General Ross gets news of someone drinking the bottle Bruce bled in.
Guess it had a little more kick than he was looking for.
Wow.
Why couldn't we have had a film about a superpowered Stan Lee? Then again, maybe that's why Norton never came back. A gamma-powered Stan Lee was too scary a villain to face in the sequel. Also, this other soldier with Ross is Predaking, and that's awesome.
I am not your boss. I am your king.
We're then introduced to our soon-to-be main villain, Emil Blonsky. He starts out okay and Tim Roth's a lot of fun, but soon shows himself to have about as many brain cells as Ultimatum. Bruce then gets word from Mr. Blue that his cure needs more data. Online dating people are so pushy. Ross's troops move in, but luckily Bruce's dog gives him an early warning. If only that dog had been his sidekick in later films. Wait, don't shoot the doggy! You bastard! Don't mind me, just an inconspicuous white hipster walking like a weirdo. He then runs through a basketball court in daylight, even though it was night a little while ago. Regardless of that little continuity error, it is still cool to see Bruce be so quick on his feet, clearly having planned out potential escapes if Ross found him, and using it to outrun and outsmart the soldiers. Eventually, when it gets back to being night, he runs into... You gotta be kidding me!
You gotta be kidding me!
Even one of the characters agrees it's contrived. With both the army and the thugs on his tail, it goes without saying that Banner's not feeling too calm. Ooh, lucky shot. Well, for Bruce at least. This is a pretty effective introduction to the Hulk, playing up the character's monstrous aspects. You only get brief glimpses or shadowy views as the darts bounce off him and he pulls the guys into the darkness. It's pretty damn terrifying. But you also get hints that Hulk is more than a monster when he says to the soldiers, "Oh, that won't work. Deadpool learned that the hard way."
Hulk, rip off Talking Man's head!
Oh, crap.
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Banner manages to escape and Blonsky reveals his crippling lack of brain cells.
He didn't lose us. And he was not alone, sir. But if Banner knows what it is, I'm gonna track him down.
Are you brain dead? You saw Banner turn into that thing.
It was Banner.
Thank you. More accommodating to hitchhikers than most people around here. I'm not sure if I'd let a half-naked, sweaty guy into my truck. Blonsky then makes it clear he's growing a grudge against Banner and orders his superior to order him. Is he a Dalek?
Give me orders!
Because if that thing shows up again, you're gonna have a lot of professional tough guys pissing in their pants. Sir.
Well, you gave me orders and are clearly an unstable jackass, so no, you're fired. F*** off. Bruce then fat shames the Hulk behind his back. Why do I get the feeling their relationship won't get any better this film, as Ross explains what happened to him. Not entirely necessary, but it is still nice to clarify why Banner experimented on himself.
Yeah, super soldier.
But he was so sure of what he was onto that he tested it on himself. And something went very wrong.
And you don't want to see the animals he tested on first. We're still trying to find some of his spiders, actually. Bruce then goes to the university Betty's working at. Oh, stalking his ex. Well, soon to be ex, but we'll get to that when we get to it. However, she's moved on to Brad McBlanson. The only thing we know is that he's a psychiatrist from Bruce's friendly pizza-making friend. I don't think we even know his name. Plus, the pizza makes a pretty good bribe for a familiar-looking security guard. And yeah, it is really great that Lou Ferrigno got a cameo, of course.
You are the man.
No, he's the Hulk. The original Hulk. Show him respect, Bruce. We then get pointless reuse of the intro footage, perhaps the film was short by 20 seconds, and Bruce fails to find any info on their experiment. Betty and Blandy then come in for a date. How convenient. Don't you just hate it when your government fugitive ex shows up out of nowhere? Plus, then he channels another superhero, Bruce. Maybe Batman always hides behind dumpsters when disappearing. There must be a bunch in Gotham.
I don't know what to say.
Please, just tell me the truth.
He's Iron Man. Oh, for Christ's sakes. They find each other in the rain and get very wet.
Oh my!
As Betty seemingly forgets her other boyfriend to let Banner live with her and give Bruce the data he needs. That's honestly fair. I forgot about her boyfriend too first time I watched the film.
What he wanted to do. He wants it out of me. He wants to dissect it so that he can replicate it.
Why does Betty look so surprised? You'd think she'd know her own dad's an unstable, power-hungry jackass.
If I could borrow some cash.
I guess she'll get that back about 13 o'clock at night in the year 5,000,000,004. But while I'm not too invested in the couple, this back and forth of them being awake and lonely in separate beds is an effective way to convey how the Hulk has screwed up both their lives. Ross then comes up with the brilliant plan of giving the unstable formula to an unstable loose cannon.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
Is everything okay? What?
Damn it, Betty, you jinxed it! Sure enough, soldiers swarm the campus and Bruce is on the run again. Is Banner Hulk or the Running Man? Wait, no, Cap's also the Running Man. Only the most subtle and cunning troops allowed in the army. The insurers will have a field day.
Stop! I know you're in there!
Damn it, you read the script! Just when the snipers lock him in, they decide to gas him. It goes about as well as you'd expect. High five! Our first view of the Hulk in daylight is... okay. It's satisfying to see him let loose on the soldiers, but the effects on him have aged a lot quicker than Iron Man's. Then again, it is probably harder to bring a living, breathing green rage monster to life than it is a metal suit. And the CG definitely isn't terrible. Yeah, maybe you should have cleared the campus of civilians before you went Michael Bay on it. They then send in the super knobhead.
My God, he's doing it.
He's mildly annoying, the Hulk. Seriously, I don't see what's so exceptional about what Blonsky's doing. He's causing no damage to the Hulk and being about as effective as those soldiers. Maybe you should have spent the budget you used on the serum on making more of those sonic cannons. They seem pretty effective on him, at least before Hulk takes a page out of Captain America's book. That is pretty damn cool.
Is that it?
What are you doing?
Is that all you got?
Are you talking smack to the Hulk? You don't talk smack to the freaking Hulk! Yeah, that's what happens when you talk back to the strongest hero there is. You were dropped several times as an infant, weren't you, blockhead ski? Just as Hulk and Betty have a moment, a chopper comes in to be a Hulk blocker. Oh my god, the Gamma Monsters are coming! Hide your kids! Hide your wives! And to give Brad credit, he clearly sees through Ross's bullcrap.
Should be an incredible danger as long as she's with him.
From who? He protected her. You almost killed her.
Hey, stop having a point! Hulk then takes Betty to a cave so his effects look passable.
At least Hulk looked better than in 2003.
This is an interesting gaze into just how scared Hulk is, throwing a boulder up at the lightning. All the years on the run and time inside Banner have left his rage matched only by fear, something that'll become telling later when it becomes clearer that Bruce and Hulk are two separate entities. We then see Blockhead Ski in a body cast. See, that's what happens when you talk smack to the incredible freaking Hulk. When Bruce wakes up and they get to a motel, we see his psyche is not doing much better than Hulk's.
Do I smell soiled baby diaper?
I don't know. I think green's more his colour. Too soon.
It was like this huge, like Hulk.
Yeah, there it is! There it is!
Betty then decides to go on the run with Bruce. A nice sentiment, but I still find her character pretty boring. Nothing against Liv Tyler, she's a good actress, but there's not much to her character other than being nice and patient. Thematically she works well, being the one caught in the middle between Hulk and her father's battles, but story and character-wise she adds very little. Oh no, we need to keep this film rated 12. Something interrupt this!
I can't. I can't get too excited.
Blonsky then appears to have been fully healed as Ross gets a little close to him.
Well, we could sell this.
No. No, that's the only thing you have left from her. No.
When can a piece of jewellery just be jewellery? Not everything needs to be a precious heirloom. However, S.H.I.E.L.D. put out the search for a Mr. Blue and Green, finding Samuel Stearns, thinking he's a likely candidate due to his gamma research, alliterative names, and being played by Tim Blake Nelson. There's then a nice conversation on the road that shows both Banner's desperation to get a normal life and how he feels inside the Hulk. Oh, phrasing!
Then it's still you inside it.
No, it's not.
Hulk is Hulk's own monster.
They need to ditch the truck due to a police stop, and end up where all Marvel films eventually must, New York. He's over the speed limit! Arrest him, Spider-Man! Wait, that doesn't happen for a few years.
You know, I know a few techniques could help you manage that anger.
No, let her be angry. That's the most character she's had this film. They reach Stearns, who acts like a yammering fanboy who can't wait to get Banner in bed. Nelson does manage to pull it off without being annoying though. Can't wait to see him as a villain in the sequel that won't happen. Blonsky, you got a little something there.
How you feeling, man?
Like a monster.
Sir, he doesn't seem stable. Should we take him off the mission?
Nah, he's fine. Let's go after the calm, unassuming scientist. He's the real monster.
This is all because you dated your daughter, isn't it?
I need to protect my baby girl.
Stearns then hooks Bruce up to a weird sciencey thing that'll cure him of the Hulk, but doesn't activate the cure when he starts raging out. What is it with side characters in this film acting like morons in front of the Hulk? Admittedly, it is pretty chilling seeing Hulk writhing in agony on the table. Again, so fearful, as if he's in his final death throes. It seemingly works, but Stearns reveals himself to be nuts, having created copies of Banner's blood. Fanboys are really getting extreme these days.
This gamma technology has limitless applications. We'll unlock hundreds of cures. We will make humans impervious to disease.
Oh, great potential for a sequel. Wait. Blonsky then goes against orders. Once again, great idea not putting him in a straitjacket, as they take Banner out in the straps that Blonsky should really be in.
Don't ever speak to me as your daughter again.
That was dramatic.
Blockhead then hits a lady. How rude. To get Stearns to make him more powerful. This hunk of Hulk's power Blonsky has is kind of creepy and a good contrast to Banner wanting to get rid of his power, but his idiocy throughout the film and Roth's rather wimpy delivery in this scene robs him of a lot of threat.
I want more. You've seen what he becomes, right?
Don't care how I want it now.
The mixture could be an abomination.
Ha! I get it.
And so Blockhead's transformed into a bigger Blockhead, knocking over Stearns and breaking some of his equipment, turning him into...
Oh well, at least we'll always have Earth's mightiest heroes. He was voiced by Jeffrey Combs in that. He was awesome.
I do find it weird that they did a sequel tease without a sequel being confirmed. But, oh well, that's what obscure tie-in comics are for. After briefly turning into a Cloverfield film, we see Abomination in all his slimy, unappealing lack of glory. He looks like a cave troll got in a teleportation accident with a burger cheese. I realise he's supposed to look disgusting, but he just looks like a bald Hulk with frog skin, and the textures make him look pretty fake. They should have had a design closer to the comics in my opinion, at least he would have looked more threatening. Of course, Banner gets the idea all scientists do when giant monsters show up.
Let them fight.
Huh. Well, that was an okay film.
No, Hulk comes out to give us a final battle that, much like the rest of the film, has good moments but overall is kind of unimpressive. The effects are still okay, even though there are moments when Abomination especially looks really fake. It is cool to see these two giant monsters throw down, as well as Hulk's iconic wind clap, and it's pretty damn brutal, especially as it draws out.
Now watch her die!
And when the chopper Betty's in crashes. However, Abomination's dialogue is pretty damn awful, and just makes me wish Hulk could rip his jaw off.
Come on! Is that all you've got? Any last words?
Ooh, don't forget, we're not so different, you and I. I'm not going to kill you, I just want you to suffer, and just go down already!
Hulk! Smash!
Worth it.
This was definitely a better final battle than Iron Man vs Ironmonger due to how visceral it felt, but that's not saying much. Hulk decides to rip off Ghost Rider to finish off Blonsky, but of course doesn't kill him and jumps off into the night, leaving his love to fade off into unimportance.
I can't blame him considering...
Ooh, and I suddenly see you. Ooh, did I...
Keep your mind on this film, Pat, she comes later.
And so the film ends with Bruce hulking out in a cabin after drinking a weird red liquid. Maybe try some jasmine tea next time, mate. That's incredibly soothing. Before the credits, we see Ross getting drunk. What a lad. As he gets an unexpected visit.
You know, I hate to say I told you so, General, but that Super Soldier program was put on ice for a reason.
Although sometimes the super soldiers go on ice by accident.
Though weirdly, Stark hints at Hulk being a major antagonist in Avengers. I guess they just didn't find it that interesting, and to be fair, Fury did seem to want to have all the potentially dangerous super people close to him, especially since he had a cell for Banner. Not a big continuity hiccup, but still kind of strange, and the scene feels a little unnecessary, just to remind us that the Avengers is still gonna happen.
So that was The Incredible Hulk. It's alright.
While this film does have many good or interesting elements, I do see why it's a lot more obscure than the other MCU films. It does have a great cast, some heart-pumping action, and interesting themes to do with Banner and Hulk's psyches, but while they're excellent on paper, and some in practice, overall, the execution was kind of mediocre. Outside of Banner and Ross, whose Ahab-esque chasing of Hulk was understandable, but still intimidating, the characters are either bland and forgettable or just annoying. The effects are mostly passable, but some have aged pretty damn poorly, and while the first act is pretty tense with Banner on the run, the second act grinds to a halt most of the time, feeling pretty slow until the writers realised, crap, this is getting boring, throw in the Hulk smashing more stuff. Another big problem I have is that the cinematography is pretty damn drab. The emphasis on green in some scenes is kind of cute, but otherwise it leaves a lot of the film scenes feeling rather forgettable and lifeless, not helped by the hit and miss script. Overall, this is a well-conceived film executed in a very okay way, so I guess that its title is a bit of false advertising.
Unfortunately, the MCU's next film will continue this track record of good ideas going to crap, so join me then when I take a look at their first sequel, and quite possibly their worst film, Iron Man 2. I'm Parex11, thank you for watching.